welcome to the Geek on My Sleeve channel. This is Geek Out number 68 over Hatchling Magitech Legacy Book 2 by Chris Fox. And yeah, what a journey. Was a great book. I'm looking forward to continuing the series. Spoilers ahead. Abort, abandon ship if necessary. All Geek Outs will be archived, so you can come back, chat with us later, or you can hang out with us now. There you go.
Here we go. So, yeah, I really enjoyed getting back into the series. We took a bit of a break. I'm trying to remember, what was it like around the turn of the year we did book one? It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute on the series.
Had a lot of fun with Magitech. This is our first Chris Fox series, and yeah, I'm really enjoying his stuff. I want to read more of what he does, and he has some pretty solid nonfiction um, stuff for aspiring writers as well. I think he'll give you the first book for free, How to Write 5,000 Words an Hour, if you go join his mailing list. So there's a friendly little plug. Try to get that in the descriptions after the stream.
Yep. It's I don't know. Book two's kind of are my least favorite out of everything because book one you get the introduction, a little bit of the magic system, the characters, a little bit of the world, and then two is more like always build up and always, more teasers.
Right.
I will say this book was fairly conclusive to some stuff, as well as, wanting more out of it. So in some respects, it did pretty good for the progression. Yeah.
I agree with you. This book was very much a leveling up for our cast, our crew that we kind of built together, as well as expanding our knowledge of the world and how the magic system works. Um, we got to learn more about the different political structures, as well as constantly rehashing the different between the mages. Um, Pulling up my notes here because I know that was kind of one of the ongoing questions about the different mages in book one. So you have tech mages, are pretty much like your basic fishy, if we're going to use like lit RPG jargon, where pretty much if they have any sort of magic, they can cast spells through technology, right? Their rifles, use their armor, et cetera, et cetera. They can use their magic ability to power those up as well, use technology to cast spells. A true mage is they can use standard spell armor and spell weapons, but they can also cast spells with their own power and knowledge. They don't have to purely rely on technology. They can pretty much write the magic symbols in the air and cast spells. So it goes from like a tech mage to a true mage after they get some training and ability. And then you have a war mage, which can do much more with their magical powers, and they have masters, mastered the ability to channel magic through their weapons of choice. Pretty much like the top tier mage you can get, can divide their focus, do more powerful spells, so on and so forth. So that's kind of like the three-tiered structure that we work
I
with.
guess I interpreted it differently. But if you're looking at his notes, I guess he would know his own system.
Yeah, how did you interpret it when reading? Because,
So I thought tech mage is someone who uses technology to utilize himself being a mage, or technically a mage, because they went to a catalyst, which is a god, got powers, and then they can use it through the spell rifle, spell blade, spell armor, and it's all based off of the variant they got.
hmm
Because in book one, we ended up with void magic, so we could void or fly. Not really, but really. So that's why the spell armor worked. And then I thought War Mage and True Mage were two sides of the same coin. It's just whether you spec Warrior or you spec Mage. Um,
mm,
it's the fact that like you close with the squishies, and they're not designed for frontline combat, where vice versa, if you have a war mage in your face, you're probably buttered toast. So,
yeah, yeah.
and then I guess I thought true mage was higher regardless at the same time, because, or well, it depended on how much training and dedication and what they're proficient at. And then we got a glimpse of the wheel or the eight magics, and how if you have, oh, connected, I don't know how to say it, but if they're on the same side, you can combine them
hmm
to be something more. And that's how the true mage came about. And then yet again, it all, like, as strong as they can be, there's always a counter, and there's always more proficiency to be had.
Yeah, I guess I'm reading a little bit more here. He goes on under the war mages that they divide their focus. War mages rarely know as many spells as true mages and often cast fewer spells before growing too exhausted to cast. So I think you're right that it's not quite set up as a tier structure where true mages, he talks about their jump in power comes from greater paths, like understanding them, one or more paths of the circle of eight between the elements and the realms. So as you master the different sections there, you can kind of unlock, I guess, stronger spells and abilities. But we learn pretty early on that the major who gets demoted to captain, and we have Nara, those are our only quote unquote true mages. And in this book, both Nara and Aaron have been mind wiped. Well, they got mind wiped in the previous book, but a big part of this book, after they come back and the major goes on trial, both Aaron and Nara kind of go into their own little training sessions. And Nara has been relying on her spell pistol as a crutch. And so, like, a big part of her training is teaching her how to cast spells without it. And that's kind of like what the first third of the book is about, right? Aaron going and training with the elves, not elves, the Cheyennes, and Nara going and training to basically become a true mage and um, grasp her oh desire, thirst for knowledge, and learn all these awesome abilities before they head back on their next quest slash augury. um,
Yeah, and I don't know, it's definitely a unique take, because book one was pretty much like, you're the child of prophecy, you will fulfill this thing, this augury, and, save the world. And then we get there and we do the thing and we save it, and yay. Just to turn out that uh that was a blip in the ever expanding, floodlights of the cosmos. and then we get a lot more of that in book two here,
Mm-hmm.
where oh, yeah. So now that you got stripped of command, now that, you feel as if your career is over, just kidding. We are going to live forever or a very long time. How about you go do this other thing?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
as much as we're getting the snot kicked out of us and we finally won, we need to, reassemble the team. And then, yeah, I think, well, we don't actually know because there's more to behold, but we end up finding like the only original true God left for the
One of,
knowledge,
yeah, one of. Most of them, at least up until now that we've met, have all been dead,
lesser or
right?
dead.
Lesser or dead gods. And that was another part of this book where, like, the first one, thrown into the thick of it, impending doom, et cetera, end of the world as we know it. But hey, not only are there multiple worlds, but there are multiple universes, omniverse, and timelines, right? So the war, quote unquote, with the Confederates now versus the Crocs is now like even greater, right? We're pretty much with the Confederate. Um, Even if they don't want her as a major, she still acknowledges that there's a greater war and is going to fight it with or without them. And for Aaron as well, that's kind of a big thing for him where he acknowledges and accepts the fact that regardless of what banner he fights under, this is still his war. And he's still going to fight it. Um, whether it be under the major slash captain slash Gloria, whatever. Um, they're still going to do what they can, and they go after this augury. And yeah, a lot of things about book two is just done really well. She loses her ship, she loses her command. This book, we go from there being like a hierarchy in the military to, hey, we're all free agents. There's still that hierarchy, but now we're coming together where the major slash captain gets her own ship through her father. Um,
I love some of the little banter. He's
there,
like, "Oh, why is the color gone?" And it's like, that's not a picture, that's sonar. Wait a minute, how do you guys see in the dark?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There was a lot of really good laugh out loud one liner moments. Um, yeah, just yeah. The dialogue's really good in this book. Friendly banter. Um, I want to say that it's definitely more of a mature book, but it's not like overly graphic. But there were a couple moments where just kind of pulls you out of it when the major's father gets called out by, oh, I forget the name of the guy who um, I just remember him as, oh, Master. It wasn't audacious or whatever, but arrogance or whatever. The flame girl
Oh,
refers to him
yeah.
as when Nara shows up, but he pretty much calls her out, saying that like the Major's father is the biggest slut on this side of the galaxy, sort of a deal. Um, and then yeah, just gosh, Cruz has so many good one-liners in there, um, especially when he meets up with the god and everything. I meant to pull it for this stream. But when he goes in, he's like, hey, like, go ahead and give me the secret handshake or whatever so I can get out of here, go do my thing. Like, I'm sure you charge a lot for therapy and you're really good at it, but like, I can't afford that crap.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, here you are in the presence of a god. And sure enough, Cruz is just like, whatever. I got people to protect, Crocs to fight. Hook me up with the goods, dude.
And we should start a tally system. It only took till book two for giant spiders,
I was about to
giant
say,
flying spiders.
there's a
It seems
reoccurring
like no
theme.
matter if we're in fantasy, lit RPG, kids book, there's always some version or variant of giant spiders.
It kind of makes you wonder if there is just like some subconscious connection thing or whatever where what we need something, big and scary, throw us off our game, come out of, left field. How about spiders who are in charge of a library? The curators.
Who evolved from, giant spiders with wings.
Yeah. What can we do to make this even more scary? Well, if we take spiders, we're already dealing with dragons. Let's have spider dragons. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Yep.
So, yeah. Yeah. A lot of leveling up. We go into training, figure out the politics, all this stuff, and then we go on our master quest, get to see how, cruddy the new Texas is as a ship and how
Or Big Texas.
big Texas, yes. And then the contrast with that and the ship they leave with, it's just like night and day,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like they go from having like assigned, oh, I forget the name they use, but terminals that like the different people use to like one to pilot, one to you know, do defense for
Attack,
counter
defense.
spells. Yeah, yeah. And then the new one is just like, hey, we can interchange, be wherever, et cetera, et cetera. Um, all the meanwhile, we're working through our posturing with Nara and the Major and Aaron, and this love tension build up between Aaron and Nara, who were ready to murder each other before Nara got her mind wiped, to Aaron resenting her, all the way through like them being good buds to the beginning of book 2. All their plans and goals are like, yes, we gotta fight Crocs, but I want my partner in crime at my side. And everyone else is like, there's no bedrooms on this ship, right? Like, you guys need to knock
Yeah.
this off, take it down a notch. They're like, oh no, there's nothing. We're just good friends. Um, and then oh, we didn't have our drifter and our bad flirt. I forget his name, the healer.
Or bored.
Yeah, yeah. So
Well,
we get
I thought Chris did well with that, where they already had a life, and our main our main guy Aaron was pretty much like, "Hey, I'm here to ask you, BT Dubs, don't go. You
yeah,
guys have a life. This is
yeah,
what we're fighting for. Keep up the good fight." And then, bum bum bum, climax time, and he gives him a friendly call, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, look up. All right, now run."
right.
And then we pull some fancy maneuver and save everybody and make them all rich, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I can appreciate and respect an author when they do that, because it gets a bit tiresome when, everything just falls into place. Like, hey, this is a volunteer mission, but you're all going to jump at the chance to volunteer. So that was kind of a nice little pivot when Aaron's like, actually, no. And Cruz is like, yeah, no. Don't come. You guys stay here. We're going to go. Um,
As
yeah.
well as the sentient staff and the witty banter there, and
Oh,
the fact
I
that both her or the major's mother and father are bound, and all the feels and emotions there, and
well, it's her father's paramour. It's not actually her mother. It's just the female companion slash priestess, that her slut of a father is currently bound to, because her actual mother is with the guy that Aaron teamed up with in book 1, right? Like that's
Oh,
her actual mother. Um, the paramour who deciphers the auguries or whatever is essentially part priestess who taps into the tree god to, see the paths of the future and the auguries and everything. Um, so they're companions, but yeah, then we get to see him, do his high mighty, better than thou. Oh, there's always another war. I'm not going to get dragged into this. Have a massive party / orgy, worst hangover ever. I guess now I'm bound and part of this war, but on the other side. So yeah, yeah. And then just the Major's overall detachment of it all. Like after they all go through and get their upgrades, I'm trying to remember what all everybody gets. Like first goes the Major, and she gets, the little pep talk from the god and the ability to see the different timelines and strands and possibilities.
yeah, that's like
Um,
a skill she's got to develop.
Plus this ancient artifact, witty banter staff, um, who is slowly becoming one of my favorite characters. Um, then Aaron goes through, and we finally get to see a bit of his past. And
Yeah, he unlocks his fighting potential.
mhm. And we get a lot more hints in the first third of the book, kind of at his past. Like everybody's like, haha,
I don't know. I
we,
felt like it was sprinkled throughout because
okay,
the beginning they're like, "I totally know your fighting style," and he's
yes,
like, tell me more," and they're like, "Oh
yes.
wait, but I'm gonna hold this over your head," and then oh, I guess the assassin was later.
Yeah, you might have listened to the next one a little bit.
Oh, just kidding.
Um, what assassin? Assassin on spoilers. Haha, joke's
Uh,
on you.
Giant spiders. Anyway,
Uh,
okay. I guess then, yeah.
yeah, so it we build the need, and then when Aaron goes in to see our spider god who's hiding in the umbral depths, she doesn't quite like return his memories, but she like unlocks the neural pathways to his fighting style and
Yeah,
shows him.
shows him other peoples who were right there with him.
Yeah, yeah, and we get to see the overall gods pulling strings and everything, because like, hey, we hindered your growth and manipulated you to be here, and now I'm going to show you a glimpse of our master plan, mwahaha. And he gets to have this overall growth moment where he's like, man, an hour ago I'd be really mad at you, but now that I see the full picture and you tickle the neurons in my brain to, you know teach me outrider kung fu to where I can improvise and not have to just be reactionary, et cetera, et cetera. Awesome path. And then you can't do anything to my spell rifle, but let's grow and power up my epic sword. Um, Insert some foreshadowing for the rest of the series, et cetera, et cetera. And then he goes off on his way. Um, Nara basically gets big brain upgrade to,
Yeah, her intelligence buff.
yep, she gets intelligent buff, um, permanent arcane intellect, um, no cooldown timer, doesn't really implant knowledge, but her capabilities and processing power is now substantially improved. Cruz comes in and, complains about her charging for therapy too much, asks for the secret handshake, and gets his fire abilities buffed. And then, what's his name? Prius?
Yeah, the maintenance guy. I can't
Yeah,
remember his name either.
the engineer who's actually more of a glorified mechanic becomes a tech mage.
Yep, picks up
And
fire magic.
mm-hmm,
Is
you
that
know,
part of this book where he saves their bacon?
yes, at the
Okay.
very end, when they're going to try to thwart the Crocs and all their multiple plans and people being bound and things and stuff, he's like, hey, Nara knows how to shoot a gun. I can shoot a gun too. And they're all like, have you ever fired a gun before? No, how hard could it be? Hey, change of plans. We might need a ride, so there's a really thick manual up front. Why don't you go read that instead? Um, and then sure
Of course,
enough,
he's thrilled and
he's our geek, right? Like as they're chilling there, um, at the epic library of future and past and all that is and will be in the omniverse, like he has a mini pocket soldering iron that he's adjusting his glasses with, right? Like just showing his epic geekiness, like, hey, I get my
or
frames busted so often, like I got a little thing here that I can heat up my rims, adjust, heat up my rims, adjust.
yeah,
All the meanwhile, we're eating spider green goop slash oatmeals. Um, yeah,
he's a interesting addition.
he is. He is. Um, yeah, I have to bite my tongue. I was really proud of myself that I stopped at the end of book 2. And then when I went back and I re-listened to it, I didn't stop.
I
So
was driving, so I guess I blended a bit into 3 there.
yeah.
What
Um,
is the conclusive end of this one again? Just so I
sure.
know.
Where we're not to do spoilers of. Um, the overall conclusive end is that um, Nara's senpai is bound slash partially bound, where he's off trying to create this massive explosion on the Cheyenne tree, where if it explodes, it's going to go into like the poverty district with the drifters, where they're trying to basically break up the alliance slash confederacy and start like an internal war, right? So he's off doing that there. And then we have Major's father off. I'm trying to think, like, was he doing like some assassination stuff or whatever? Attacking
All I
some people.
remember was she was supposed to notify someone about something, about an attack that they're supposed to defend against, but it
Hmm.
wasn't actually a fake. And that's another thing that kind of irks me. Like, I get it, these god children are arrogant, but that's why you lost. You totally had your evil villain monologue where you told everybody your plans and
Hmm.
you thought, oh, this is great. We'll just tunnel and funnel. We'll get them all in a neat little pile and then we'll just squish them.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, something about that. Um,
Yeah. So we had to divide the party, and the major had a moment where she's like, actually, no, saving daddy is, a bonus. We really need to save the drifters and all these other people. So Narg runs off and she's not able to cancel it, but she kind of like modifies the spell.
Yeah, same thing she did end of book one.
Right, right. Rinse, repeat, except for, try to save Senpai as well.
Different spell.
Yep,
And this time she had help.
yep, yep. And then we had Cruz and
Aaron.
Aaron go off and do their fighting, and we run up to, oh, her name begins with an A, and like the Cheyenne or whatever, who they're all like, no, you guys need to stop. We're going to take you in to confirm you're not bound, and we're all high on our godlike gifts that we're like, nope, we're going to go save the day. You can keep your guns out and follow us on the way over, and you'll see which side we're on real soon. Cruz gets his leg blown off. He hobbles along. Aaron goes and basically is able to defeat the Major's daddy and everything, just barely, and save the day
Yeah,
there.
he's pulling his punches kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. And then, the I'm really bad with the titles and names, but basically, the one that gave us the auguries in book 1 and 2, the Major's pretty much stepmother, she ends up passing away.
Yeah, she
So,
dukes it out with one of the Wyrms.
So the Nara's senpai ends up getting promoted to communing with the dead god at the end of book 2 after he gets unbound by the Major. And we really get to kind of see just how important the Major is. Like, she's essentially, in a roundabout way, royalty, right? Choosing to fight this fight, because both
But isn't
her,
she like kind of a bastard?
yeah, I think she's like a half breed in some regards, but I forget all the details. Like, daddy's a big deal, mommy's a big deal, stepmommy's a big deal, and here I am just trying to be a soldier, fight this war against the Crocs, aka space dragons.
Yeah. All right.
So, yeah, a lot happens in this book. Um, and we were talking about it a bit before the stream that, like, it's not the first time that we've really had like a high slash like really excited about book 1 and then book 2, out of necessity, whether it be, writing styles, whatever. It just seems to be, hey, now we need to do the world building, the political landscape, the character development to get us to where we need to be, right?
Well, the thing that kind of irked me was even though we got that, we immediately broke it.
What do you mean?
I mean, we knew all the higher ups, and then we take out the dad, but not really. So
Mm.
I think he's still alive. And then we kill off the stepmom, and then the political structure is completely changed. And we've also got all of our main characters who went into the hyperbolic time chamber in the void and got souped up.
If you think about
And
it,
then we realized that none of it even matters because there was some god that sneezed the wrong direction and decided to, well, okay, not really, but we get to see how, I think it's mainly in the first book, where if he takes down any of his attackers, then his overarching plan of taking out his competitor won't succeed. So he pretty much gives up and then does the augury magic stuff. And then we get to see it again in book 2, where we hid something just for you. We pulled all these different strings. We mind wiped you so that nobody else could see your path. And then we
Right,
gave you the augury. And
right.
it, it's
You're all just
exciting,
pawns on this
but
master
yeah,
board of the gods
we'll
doing
get
their
to see it
thing.
happen, but at the same time, it almost feels anticlimactic. Just like when they're leaving the planet and they're about to get their bacon fried or their goose
Yeah.
cooked, and she's just like, "Oh yeah, if someone sent us on this mission, we're good. We got this." Granted, they do some hullabaloo to, pull the rabbit out of their hat to make it all work. And then even after we think we made it, there's still a wait, there's more. But
I
yeah.
think the author, Chris Fox, in a way, like that's part of yeah. I don't want to say it's a plot hole, but at the same time, as a reader, and we've talked about it ourselves, where we go and we kind of like reason through this stuff where we're like, if there really is this master plan of God's doing this thing, are they really going to die? Are they really going to lose it? So like that's his way of having the major kind of point at this, saying, if we know that we're just pawns on this board and everyone else pulling the strings, there's got to be a way for us to get out of this, right? Like, no need to get into despair, because we've all had those books where it's just like, okay, yeah, we feel like we're in danger, but are we
Well,
are
I
we
guess
really in danger?
the
Are you
point
really going to kill us off?
in his favor is we did kill off the stepmom, of which drastically changed the power structure that we knew,
Mm-hmm.
which gets us back to our training montage that we didn't complete because the major had her augury. And
She can't come
though,
back at the beginning of book 3 and be like, Gloria, good news. I have another augury I've translated for you to go and do
but
stuff.
but we literally gave her the power to see potential futures so she can just fulfill her own prophecies, as well
Yes.
as we have the intellect of our other true mage to reason through it. And then we have,
A witty staff to like impose,
oh man, I
share
was
all his
disappointed that we
knowledge.
used quite a few of those spells though. Like,
Mm,
I enjoyed the naming convention, and we definitely, it's a convenient way to not be like, oh, this is an AI or this is some other form of companion.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then she's like, I thought you were silent. He's like, nope, I'm allowed to speak in life or death situations. Oh, great. So you can distract me. And then she's like, use Ice Bolt. And he's like, it's something, Ice
Yeah.
of Death. Yeah.
Epic awesomeness of destruction, blah de blah. Um, yeah. He's pretty good. And we get to see the major kind of become a little bit more human in this book. In the first one, she's all like, duty, honor, for the glory of the Confederate. And now she's, a little bit more like, okay, Aaron, like, you're not just my peon. Like, I want you to be my first mate. I want you to challenge what I say. I want you to do your thing. And he's all
Yeah,
like,
it was very much a make the best of what you have.
and growth. Like, we went from Aaron and Nara being peons, relearning everything through Cruz at the beginning of book 1, and we needed that progression, because like that's pretty much what we're scaling up to. Um, not to do spoilers, but I think like the last book in the series is literally, oh, let me pull it up just so I don't misspeak. Yeah, the last book in the series, literally God's War, right? So we go from seeing a little bit of the interaction in book one to book two. Okay, we have some real legit gods meddling in this stuff, giving us epic powers, telling us that there's this super secret, awesome spaceship that is hidden somewhere that we're going to have to find in book three, aka title of book three, Spellship, leading up to God's War. And
Well, and that's another funky thing from book one is gods can't be destroyed. They can only be separated. So I know it's kind of hard to move a planet, but we literally have a dead, not dead. I assume it's all of her crash into the planet from book one. And then we've been inside the head of Zolg or whatever
yeah,
for the void magic.
yeah.
And
So,
I'm pretty sure it's just oh, not Captain Planet. Zoids? No. What am I thinking? Giant robots connecting.
there's a number of them. So there's Power Rangers. They all have their individual bots that
Yeah,
combined. There's also Gundam, which giant spacesuits. Voltron, is that another
that's the
one?
one. That's what I was thinking. Because, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
we could
yeah.
easily, not easily, Voltron it.
So book one, we learned that we have powers and abilities and stuff and things, and now at the end of book two, like we're up to like Super Saiyan 2 mode here, and like based off the progression, based off the foreshadowing, he at the very beginning of book one thanks Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, who do the Dragonlance series, and oh, I forget the name of the other series that I haven't read. Um, I think it's Deathgate, but the gods are a big part of Dragonlance. And in the earlier series, it's all about kind of like discovering the gods and bringing back the old gods in the Dragonlance series. And then like later on, um, they actually get into some like God's War type stuff. And as an avid Dragonlance fan, that's the feel I get from kind of what we're doing here. Like we're getting our weapons of power, we're powering up, working on ranking up our dream team and everything. That way they can, you know, get to the other side of the board and go from pawn to rook to knight to, queen, et cetera, et cetera. And then we're going to have this full out God's War in book seven, where we get to see these mortals wield godlike powers and all the awesomeness across all these worlds and giant freaking space dragons.
Yeah.
So we get to learn that.
Though I was a little disappointed because, like, the end of one, we knew that there were drakes or mini dragons, and we knew that he was going to, raise them as his own. But book two is named Hatchling. What hatched? Did we
Yeah.
hatch? Did the main characters hatch?
I wonder if they switched it because it says hatchling, but when I look on his website, it says void worm.
No, because, or I need to do more research. There's Magitech Chronicles, and then there's Magitech Legacy. I think there are
Oh.
two series, but I had a hard time because
Oh.
I kept typing in Magitech Book 2, and it was like
You
Void Worm, and I'm
know
like, wait
what?
a minute, what's up?
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right.
Two series?
Two series and there's overlap. We're actually on
Is,
the Magitech Chronicles series.
or we're on Legacy.
Are we?
I thought we were.
This just shows how crazy our stuff has been that we're sitting here. Nope. Chronicles. The Magitech Chronicles
Oh, well, we may have
quadrilogy.
butchered this whole thing.
Sorry, guys. This
No
whole
wonder you're
stream's
all
a lie.
confused.
Goodbye, cruel world. We goofed up. We're turning in our geek card. Retiring. It's been fun. So
Or hold on, let's straighten
I'm,
this out at least.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So
Oh, I can't do that.
no worries. We can fix it in post. Uh, so yeah, I'm really interested to check out his role-playing game. I think that would be a lot of fun to do some science tabletop like things. But yeah. If anybody's interested in doing some virtual tabletop, let us know in our Discord. We keep teasing about doing it. Maybe we'll stream some of our stuff. We were talking about oh gosh, trying to think of his stage name. We just had him on.
Shirtaloon?
No, that yeah, I'm excited for that. But I was going to say another one of our D&D buddies before the
Oh,
pandemic,
Boltac?
Voltac, yeah, doing some uh, Knights Radiant tabletop would be fun. So yeah. So we have book 1, Tech Mage, book 2, Void Wyrm of our suicidal quest into the umbral depths. And then book 3 is Spellship. As always, we try to get your guys' feedback in what series you are interested in us continuing. I think we're at like half a dozen different ongoing series for our Geek Out streams. But yeah, definitely enjoying this one so far. Looking to see how book 3 through 6 scales to get us to our God's War book 7 in all its glory. And yeah, book 2 for the most part, like you said, it wrapped up pretty well, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
As Peter tries to tinker with stuff live.
Yeah, okay. So we are on the Chronicles, and this is where I ran into it earlier. I just have been off my game. I
It
noticed something funky was
happens.
happening. So yeah, it is Void Wyrm, spelled with a
It
Y.
Yes. It's something that again got me tripped up too, also thinking back to the Dragonlance series because they do a lot of the similar naming conventions for their different trilogies in the series that when I was reading through it, I had to go and actually look at like a timeline or refer back to back when I had time to actually read physical copies. They'll always include it in the front as they release because like they'll basically have the same name, but oh, let me pull it up real quick. Because I think he, again, drawing on Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, um, and all their stuff that they do. Um, the Dragonlance series. Mouse is not cooperating.
All right. Well, that was my goof. I should have looked more into it.
You're good. You're good. So like they do like Chronicles and then Legends, and so on and so forth. And then there's like the Lost Chronicles where it's still Chronicles and everything. So we kind of ran into the same thing with Magitech, where it's Magitech, but they have, oh, I just had it pulled up. It was um, the
Or so
Chronicles
first one,
and then Legacy. Yeah, it's
yeah,
pretty much the
the
same thing.
Magitech Chronicles, and then a Magitech Chronicles series, which is Magitech Legacy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
which, yeah, I
all
don't know.
good.
I assume it's a complete separate series, but the vibe the naming convention gives me is kind of like Full Metal Alchemist versus Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
for that, it is the same thing, but it's not. It's just what they omitted or what creative freedoms were given.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Yep. 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 Um, yeah. Final thoughts on book 2 of
Void Worm.
Voidworm.
Uh, it was good. It was conclusive. It built up stuff and then completely broke it. We got a bit of training for our main cast, but at the same time, there's still so much more potential in almost every regard.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is good. Means there's growth opportunities, so on and so forth. So let us know if there's interest in continuing the series. Otherwise, we'll work it into our queue and cycle back, taking a break from our lit RPG roots. Which, speaking of, what do we got for next week? Well, bam. That
Yeah,
is,
and Flame, the Completionist Chronicles, what, book 6?
yes, yes. And that is a perfect shirt for this. Like, it's a lit RPG. The game has become reality. Don't want to drop too many spoilers. Learned a lot of good, interesting things that we'll share in Geek Out number 69 in regards to the Completionist Chronicles series, including why he switched up his naming convention, estimates for number of titles in the series, all that other good stuff. Um, yeah, yeah. What would you tell somebody who hasn't picked up this series yet, Pete, without too much spoilers, why they should binge it and get ready to geek out with us on book 6 next week?
Um, I thoroughly enjoy the author. He is very pun oriented. I enjoy the magic system. This, for me, feels very much like Book 8 of The Land, where it's not
Mm,
quite a reset in the series, but it's a divergence or a reposition.
yeah,
Um,
it's a whole new
uh,
arc, and I think he
yeah.
said that in one of his recent streams, Dakota Kraut. This is a whole new arc. If you're current with the series, you understand why. Um, but I'm with you. It's definitely still the same character we know and love, but kind of a reset, not a reset. Definitely a whole new story arc. Um, yeah, yeah. So is that at our normal time next week?
Yes.
5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Inflame the completionist Chronicles. Gosh, everybody's got Chronicles these days. Magitech Chronicles, Completionist Chronicles, Geek on My Sleeve Chronicles. 5 p.m. Eastern Sunday. Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. Hope to geek out with you here soon. Bye.
Bye.